What is going on?
Hi, ladies. Hey. Hello.
Hello.
We have that look like, ooh.
Yes.
I feel like the Fugees. We recording today?
After that blackout on social media, it's like what's working, what's not
like
working.
that. I love the Fugees. Don't get me wrong. And look, shout out to Lauryn Hill and all the peeps.
Yeah,
But they show up. Are we performing today? Yeah, that's right. So we gotta clip that out for Twitter. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. Hi, ladies. But okay, Heartbeats listeners, we love you guys. Welcome to episode 54, The Power of Connections.
Yes.
Connecting. Connect 3, not Connect 4. Anyway.
Ooh, I love
Let me tell
Connect
you
4.
something. When we
I
come
do too.
on, like, it's always a good episode.
Yes. I know. Don't screw. Just crop my face out because every picture and every video, I'm like, okay, no, that is not happening. Okay, so make sure you get my good side, which I think is the left side, my profile joint.
All your sides are good.
Thank you very much. Hello, ladies. Yay. I'm excited about this topic, the power of connections. Look at this. Look at us. Because we wouldn't be here without the power of connections, right?
No,
Right.
definitely not.
Who would be here without that? So we talked about our power season. We just wrapped up our...
I was about to say something inappropriate.
Oh, what? Which is not for...
No, because you was like, we were not
inquiring minds.
No, you said none of us would be here without the power of connection.
Okay, I'm taking notes. Okay, I get it. I just got it. Shauna.
Sorry, my mind is a little bit.
Shauna's like,
sometimes.
That was a good one though. I like that. Thank you. It's like, you threw the baseball mitt and I was like, shh, just like that. Okay. Anyway. All right. Y'all, ladies. Yes, the power of connections. I think we talked about this a while ago, but what I was saying earlier, we just wrapped up our Word of the Year series. So we actually did a mini series within our season 3 already. So last few episodes, we talked about our words for the year, right? Surrender, words or phrases, flow with ease and joy. So coming right off of our joy season with all those connections, we're going to talk about the power of connections today and how we got here. So love it, love it. When we were talking about this episode, Shauna brought up a great point. We immediately, at least I did, started diving into, we got to be in person. It's got to be face to face. Shauna was like, no, it needs to be... That was good, right? That was good, Shauna. It needs to be starting from within because we talk about the inner work a lot. So I want Shauna to talk about that piece and how we got here. And then we're going to weave in the rest.
Exactly.
Shauna.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It's very, very important to have a connection within yourself because I feel like a lot of times in life, we have like this checklist. So if the new social norms is connecting online or connecting in person, or remember at one point networking was the word, like we need to go to networking parties and we need to do this and we need to do that. And this was like the social norms, they change periodically based on what's going on in the world. And I feel like you need to have you need to be grounded within yourself and connected within yourself before you step out into trying to create and form other connections. Because when you think about connections, sometimes people go to these events, or let's just say LinkedIn. You have 1,000 people you go after, they go after you, you see something in common, you do a few chats, you do a few posts and things like that. But are you really building a relationship? Like, let's talk about the word connection. Like, at what point does it go from going from here to actually going here, connecting on a different spectrum? So I was just saying that the foundation within ourselves needs to be strong so that we know that we are connected within ourselves. That way we can build connections outside of us and then take those connections to full-blown relationships that actually serve the parties involved.
Yes. Yeah, I love that, Shauna.
But one of the things you talked about, Linda, Shauna, before we got on was how you have to do the inner work, right? You have to be connected with yourself wholly before you can go out here and try to build genuine, intentional connections with other people. You want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, yes. I
She's
love
like,
that.
no, I just finished talking.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
yeah.
just finished like 7 minutes ago as we started this. We're 7 minutes in. Yes, yes, always great. I mean, we talked about connections. I think this over this past year or so that we've been in the world has been in the state that it's in. I think it's allowed people to reconnect with themselves too, because there's a piece that has happened with that. And then though that reconnection, I think, ignites something inside of you too, or it ignited something inside of you, which helps foster more internal work, more inner work, and then which fosters other work for you to do that outreach. So whether that's with people, whether that's with a creative, thing that you want to do, that you want to follow, whether it's a new position, job, whatever. But I love your point, Shauna, about LinkedIn, because just recently, I think Jeanette had shared that LinkedIn now has a creator option. And I feel like, yeah, I've been in this corporate world forever. I'm in this business world and I'm going to connect with these people, right? But but it's more, I'm like, wow, when they had that creator option, yes, I've been in the corporate world for 32 years, but it's just like, this creative option is giving me more of that connection feeling, because I realize that I'm connecting more on that level. So there's a growth aspect to that.
Yeah.
So it comes in many ways. Yeah.
It's more genuine, right? It gives you the ability for people to really see you as more than just like your titles.
Yes.
And get to know you. And so like one of the things that I share on mine is like, it could be like a video content or just like, the things that I'm passionate about. And it kind of shows more about why I'm in the field that I'm in and things like that. So yeah, I think it just is allowing people to be more genuine. I know Facebook has done some things in the past around like showing people more personal pages versus business pages, because like their original thing, when they started was for you to be able to connect with people from your past, but then it got so flooded with people on their six-figure businesses and all their ads and this and that. And so Facebook said, well, hold on, let's back up, because it's about the people and it's about actual building of relationships. But why does it matter, right? Why do we need connections? Because I know there's somebody out here listening that was like, I don't really like people like that. So
yeah.
If we don't, first of all, socially, we need to be connected. We need to stay connected some kind of way. It's just a human way, the way we need, the way that we're created. We crave that. Even if we may say that, it might, I know once upon a time I was sharing with you ladies that I used to feel like I wanted to be on an island and just like be by myself, and people get in the way, and I don't need to deal with people, and I can figure it all out. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. That's an anxiety stricken lifestyle. That's a heart attack in the making. That's like, you're not designed to be by yourself.
But so think about that, right? So when we say stuff like that, because I know I say stuff like that, but it comes from a place of like burnout. It comes from a place of like overwhelm, anxiety, depression. Like it comes from like, when you feel like I just don't need people, there's something underlying there, right? It's not just, I just don't need anybody. And me and my friend has had this conversation about needing people. Like, we don't need, like, it can be taken negatively, right? So some people, when they hear need, is like, I don't need you. Do you remember Nia Long and what was it? Oh, what is the movie, Linda?
Which one?
Come on, Nancy. Yep, Best Man Holiday. So the second one, right?
Second one.
Yes.
I remember her fiance was like, something about her needing. She was like, well, I don't need you. He said, you act like you don't need me. And she said,
That's right.
I don't need you. And he was like, oh, wow. And I heard it again on this season 3 of Queen Sugar. Yes, I'm on season 3. I know season 6 is out. Don't come for me. I just got into the show. But in season 3 of Queen Sugar, Vi and Hollywood, they were talking, and he told her, he was like, you act like you don't need me. She said, I don't need you, but I want you. She said, but I want you. I want you with me. Like everything in me, I want you here, but I don't need you to be here, but I want you here. And yeah. So all that I was saying, because there's somebody out here listening that feels like they don't need people. So why should they even matter? But yeah, there's some underlying there.
That's an interesting debate there between the
Mhm.
need and
Need
want.
and the want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I
It
guess
is.
it depends on your personal truth with the situation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because you can make toxic connections, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Those are the easiest connections to make sometimes.
Because you bond, because you just like in the positive ones, right? So we bonded together in a positive way, and we support each other. But you can bond with somebody over, grief, trauma, and different things like that, and then you end up in like this codependent type of relationship because it's just feel like, oh, I just they get me, they understand me, they're questioning me, or sometimes the pain that they bring you takes you away from whatever pain you were dealing with before. So just being really careful, right? Because we talk about the power of connection, but there's power within those connections that can hold you into something that you don't want to be in. Just as well as it can have a positive side effect of it as well, and you can
absolutely
end up in something like the Heart of Chat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Here we are, and we love this space. We love this space, and without those connections, those conversations wouldn't happen, and just that energy exchange, the positive energy exchange. We hold each other accountable. That's based on connections. Just all of that. And I mean, this is what I feel good looks like. Of course, it takes time to build that too. So it does take time to build that, because there's going to be bumps in the road, but you still want to have that. I can't tell you enough how I did an event a few weekends back, and it was so good to just be in person and just be around people. And we were all kind of on that same wavelength as, an energy exchange of information. Most of us there were either first, second, or third time authors. And some of the people who were newer in this space, they really were drawn, to those of us who were speakers. It was myself and two other ladies who were speakers at the event. And it was like the one lady was the keynote speaker. She said, I can't tell you, this is where I live. This is where I thrive with these connections. I need to be with y'all. And that was just that was so powerful for all of us to hear that was the space that she wanted to be in. And as I started speaking, I got more and more on fire. I was more lit as I kept talking. I was like, yay, this is it. And a 2-hour event turned into a 4.5-hour event. Now, I bet you make home at some point. But yeah, so that's an example too of connections. I foresee more connections beyond those connections, and so forth and so on. So that's another example too.
But that's what it is. And Shauna, you've talked about that too, like the human connection and just a energy exchange. I know you've spoken on that before. Do you want to talk a little bit deeper about that?
Yes, the energy exchange. Also, I wanted to say something about our connection. Connection also helps you to step outside your comfort zone. And I know, Linda, you may share some examples of how you've done that recently. But if we didn't, the three of us, if we didn't decide to hang out with each other online, when Linda and I met each other in all these Facebook groups, and like we could have easily have separated. It could have been so easy. I mean, those groups were very popular back then, but they were also closing as quickly as they were opening up, and people were being shuttled around to different groups, trying to stay almost like with their cohort, because they had gotten used to speaking with certain people in these groups, right? And we were in a lot of the writers and blogging groups, and it blows my mind, because I remember that you were one of the first persons that I spoke to trying to inquire about self-publishing steps, because back then when you self-published your book, no one was talking about the steps. No one was talking about how to get that project done. It was like those that found out, they were trying to create like these 6-figure businesses, and they was trying to draw you in, funnel you in, and you take a class with them and this kind of stuff. And I was like, no, there's got to be a kind human out here that's willing to connect with me and just tell me exactly how. This can't be rocket science. I mean, self-publishing has been happening in the since the beginning of time, people have been documenting their work. It's just documenting your work and people respecting it, right? And so I remember there was like 3 to 4 people. And I remember Britt was one, you were one, and there were a couple authors. Dania Santana was one that's helping me translate my second children's book. And there's another author in California. They all self-published, and everybody gave me like little nuggets. But you and I could have easily lost contact. But some kind of way we remained, side by side all through those years. And then when it came down to me wanting to take my brand to another level, you brought Jeanette into my life. And I remember when I first met Jeanette in person, I told Lorenzo, my husband met Jeanette, and I told Lorenzo, I said, I don't know what it is about her spirit, but I feel like I'm connected with her some kind of way. It's really strange. He was like, well, have you met her before? Have y'all been online? I was like, no, and I was like, but the moment I saw her, it was like, it sounds crazy, but I knew I was supposed to be doing some type of life work with you, but I just wasn't sure what it was. I definitely didn't know that it was going to be this space. I, in my wildest dreams, didn't know that Linda was going to help me self-publish my books.
Right.
She didn't even know back then that she was going to have a self-publishing company.
No.
Everything just led up. I wanted to just highlight that just because we stepped outside of our comfort zone to formulate these connections. And then the next step is to, build relationships, build on top of those connections. Don't just connect to connect. Like, what are we doing with these connections? How are we like going back to the human energy exchange? How are we exchanging the right amount of energy for each other, for us to fulfill our life purposes? Because clearly the 3 of us are here assisting each other on our life purpose road right now.
That is so
how
true.
we were divinely brought together.
I'm laughing because literally I'm looking at something on my screen that says divine connection.
Oh, awesome. Look at that. And we are in 3 different cities, ladies and gentlemen. Our heartbeat, our listeners. Check it out. Shauna, you told that story so eloquently. I love that. I mean, that is the perfect example of, what took place over the last almost 6 years now, just from that connection. And, when I remember when you came to me, it was like, hey, I need a website. I need a photographer. I was like, oh, I know somebody that can do that. You need to talk to Jeanette. That was like, it was the no-brainer. It just rolled off my tongue. Oh, Jeanette can do that, And I remember when you took the trip, you were texting me on the road and said, hey, we made it. And I was like, oh, good. And I was just like, oh, la-di-da. Okay, they did great. I went off and was doing my thing for the weekend. And then just what you described after on your trip back home, just how that beautiful connection came to pass. So that is really, really good. Really cool.
And I think like in this moment, it just made me realize that like to be more grateful for the people who you connect with for a very short period of time, because you don't know how God is using them to put you into a position to meet people that you are divinely like destined to meet and to be connected with long term. So Linda and I was in a group together, and a young lady named Erica was like, hey, I want to start like an accountability group. And I was like, sure. And it was me, Erica, and it was another lady. And then the other lady didn't join, and she invited Linda. And I was like, oh, hey, Linda, are you from Maryland? Oh, I'm from Philly. Oh, you're from Jersey. Okay. And it was just, and so for a couple of years, we talked through this accountability group, really just kind of getting to know each other and talking about our businesses. And then, like Shauna said, she connected me with Shauna, but all that to say, just appreciate even the minute time that you come into contact with people, good, bad, or indifferent, because you never, like, you needed that, right? You needed that to put you into a position to meet the next person that you're supposed to meet. Because they talk about this whole 6 degrees of separation. I really believe that it really is only like 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
It's probably
less,
especially with social media, right? It's
probably less than that.
Even less than that. So yeah, I don't know. And that when Shauna was speaking, it just the thought came to my head is be grateful for everybody that's coming to your life and for whatever their purpose was, because you never know where, if you would have missed
You
your
never
recipe.
know. Yeah.
That's true.
And just follow. I always call it following the breadcrumbs, because even a year before you and Shauna met, Jeanette and I met in person for the first time in 2017. I traveled to Raleigh, North Carolina, went to an event down there, and it was, amazing. Jeanette took some pictures for me. And then from there, we just, sort of built, you just saw this kind of coming together and just building from that, looking at those connections. But at that very same event, we got a swag bag. And Zoe of Gone Girl Go, her cards were in the swag bag. And I was like, okay, fast forward 3 years later, Shauna says, Linda, you need to come join Island Beats. I'm like, what is that? Because I can't dance. Okay. You gonna do what? Y'all want to see me dance? Okay, fine. Hooked up my laptop in middle of the pandemic 2020 upstairs on this little box, and I'm trying to do these moves. Oh my goodness. I was like, I know this lady. Yes. I ran downstairs. I got the cards. I'm like, this is Zoe of Gone Girl Go. Find out Shauna and Zoe are super tight.
Yes.
Iris of Island Beats. Her and Zoe joined forces, created Island Beats. I think last season, Heartbeats, we had Island Beats on our podcast for one of our episodes. And so with that, I mean, that connection. So from that connection, don't laugh, y'all, but I've learned to dance. Okay. Don't test me on that.
She's so cute. She's so darling. So darling.
So, oh my God, but I've been doing it consistently now for almost a year and a half with Island Beats. And that has been amazing. And I'm sharing that journey with Maddie from the Hey Maddie series. Hey Maddie. Yes, from that. And recently, Maddie and I were out and we were in, Starbucks. And I mean, Zoe and Iris told me this, and you all told me this too. It brings you more confidence as you're building your confidence. I feel like I'm building my confidence, and that's a inner work and process. So Maddie and I are out in one of our favorite towns, Coastal Flats, Gaithersburg, Maryland. I think there's a picture of the restaurant on our IG feed, one of my favorite places. And I hear the Island Beats music. I immediately, I was like, I recognize that music. I said, that guy right there, he's doing the bachata. I hope Zoe and Iris, are you listening?
Before that, you would not even know
I couldn't spell bachata.
You wouldn't have had an ear for the music.
No, I couldn't.
You wouldn't have had an ear for the music.
Yeah, I would have heard. No, right, that part.
You would have heard it, but you wouldn't. First of all, for you to be able to recognize that it was bachata, that's a good thing, because you have bachata, you have salsa, you have merengue, you have all these different categories, and you're like, that's bachata.
I love how when Shauna is talking about certain things,
she be going.
Her accent changes.
Yes,
you don't even know.
Yes. So I'm like, that's the bachata. I would have never known. I mean, I would have never known that. And Maddie was like, I was like, wow, he's really good. I was like, okay, we're just gonna walk away. Maddie was like, no, Mom, say something. I was like, all right. And I said, hi, you dance really well. I was like, oh, hey, got a whole lesson. Okay. Found out this gentleman and his wife are PhDs. I think his wife is a PhD candidate. He's a PhD and has owns a small company, a pharmaceutical company in Germantown, Maryland. And he is in the school system. And he and Maddie started talking about numbers and STEM and all that. And it was just another kind of connection. That would have never happened.
He told her when she's ready to reach out to him.
Yes. And they do tours. They do something called Girl Power for STEM. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Wouldn't have known any of that if you didn't step outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. So there you have, at least 3 distinct stories about connections, folks.
And didn't you get to do a little dance together?
Yes, did a dance. I messed up.
You omitted that, y'all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I left that part out. But yeah, the dance was cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I got it. And it was an audience. A lady was sitting there with her dog. She was like, oh, you got it. I was like, oh. So that was really, really cool. And yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, the power of connections.
Yes.
Vital.
Yes. Yes.
They are. It matters. You need people. You need people.
Yeah.
We need each other.
The right people. We need each other. Mm-hmm. And it's just, when you talk about it being an energy exchange, it really does. You just feel, as we do our class for my nonprofit, and it's, entrepreneurs, we generally work alone. A lot of them working 9 to 5s, and our class is at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So after a long day of work, you can imagine everybody is rolling up in there like with they meal that they done picked up on their way there, and they tired and like, hey, but by the end of the night, they out in the parking lot. I can't get them to leave. I'm like, okay, we got to go. I just get so much energy when I come here. And that is what it does when you're around, especially like-minded people. Yes. And, and you're just excited, or when you're a creative around another creative, whatever it is, like, you don't even have to be doing the same thing, but just because, y'all have that similar goal and vision, it just gives you so much more energy.
It's infectious.
Yeah. It really is. And sometimes we record our episodes early Sunday mornings. Sometimes we do Wednesday nights, and then, just, getting us hyped up. And it's like, the lights, camera, action comes on. And no matter how tired we are, no matter how whatever, we definitely bring it. And the energy.
Because we feed off each other.
Yep. We feed off each other. Exactly.
Off each other. We pour into each other. We uplift each other. We support each other. And that's what we're supposed. What else are we supposed to be doing, y'all?
Right, twiddling our thumbs. I don't do that.
We're really supposed to be, connecting, in the human, and just,
exactly.
Having the courage to do that.
Right,
having the courage to do it. Right. So how do you?
Yes.
So one we talked about in episode 50, owning your power, right, and that's how you build like that confidence, and you build the courage, because when you realize that everything that you have is within you, and that that you matter, right? So I was reading something that was talking about, the power of human connections helps people be seen and heard and feel valued, right? Because we all inherently want that, right? We all want to be seen, want to be heard, we want to feel like we matter to people. And so one, just within yourself, back to Shauna's original point about like knowing, like connecting with yourself, is saying that, I have something to say that matters, that people want to hear. I can be of a help and of service to people, and bringing something to the table, right? It's not a one-way exchange. It's a two-way exchange. You have to also bring something to the table. You can't just show up and take all the time. And so, just how do we make better connections? So one is, like Shauna said, get in touch internally with yourself. And then what is another way that they can make some better connections with people, or how to even just start?
For me, my next step is feeling the vibrations and frequency of a person's energy exchange. If it feels really good to me, then I gravitate towards it. I want more of it, If it doesn't feel good, I back away.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition.
Yeah, trust your like-mindedness. Another thing, because you could feel the exchange, and maybe it's being pulled to you, but once you get to know it, is it in alignment with you, and is it like-minded? So I would say that's probably the third thing.
Yeah, definitely. And so, and we can find that in people that have either similar things in common with us, and it doesn't have to be like an exact, right? So like we're all creatives, right? But we didn't all do the exact same thing. Shauna had a blog, Linda had a blog, but they were very different things. So just finding like your own community. Let me tell you, there are 1,000,001 groups out here on Facebook, and on what other apps got groups? Like they're just everywhere. And inevitably there is somebody, Mighty Network, something out there. There is a group of people that you're going to find that, oh, those are my people this whole time. I didn't know that there was a group of people that love to wear Mitch socks and red bandanas. I don't know, but like I'm telling you, it can get that.
It can. Yeah. It can.
And then one thing that I've discovered and learned and accepted and gave myself permission is that I can have more than one tribe. Sometimes we have this notion that who you grew up with, those are the only people that you could be with, or I was talking about this. I was mentoring a young person not too long ago, and I was explaining about sometimes when we're growing in a certain area and we're attracted to something different that maybe our tribe is not attracted to, it is okay to give yourself permission to pursue that avenue for yourself. You know, it doesn't mean that you're turning your back on friends, family, or certain tribes, but it is okay to have different sets for different reasons. You may have a set for traveling only. You only get together to travel.
Yes.
You may have a set of friends where it's all about book club. It's all about reading and meeting of the mind and discussing, you know, passages that you read together. You know, you may have an entrepreneur group if you're an entrepreneur or you're an artist and you hang out. It's okay to be a part of more than one community to fulfill yourself in the way that you need to be fulfilled, because it's all about staying lit. This is the year of Fuego, and everything that you're supposed to be doing to reach the life of your desire is supposed to be on fire. If it's not, we're not, I don't know what we're doing.
Right. Yep. Very true. Agree.
Definitely. And I know there's some barriers out here, like, you know, with COVID and different things. So there's not, you might not feel like there's as many events, but like, even with, like Linda mentioned earlier with Island Beats, like they started that over quarantine time.
Yes.
Like, you know, virtually. So like there's really no excuse to not find a way other than just getting out of your own way. And maybe you need to talk to a professional. If you like, if it's really that deep and you really can't feel like you can't connect with people socially, then maybe you need to talk to a professional. And that's not even being funny or anything. That's being, you know, honest. You know, we all have something that we can stand to use a little extra professional help with.
That's one thing I read in the article, Jeanette, excuse me, that you brought up is those that do struggle socially or, you know, with connections can place themselves in highly anxiety stricken spaces and can be paralyzed and feel like they're all alone when there's 1,000,001 people to connect with that's probably going through the same thing that you're going through. And that's the big thing is connection also reminds you that you're not in anything alone.
Yeah. And
there are others out here.
And just take baby steps. Smile at somebody. Look up.
Yeah.
Look up every now and then. Take the headphones out. Linda, we both watch. Is it The Shy? And he always got that earbud in.
Yes. That's your boy. Yeah. Dad. What's his name? Dad.
Oh, that's my dude.
He always got his earbud in, but it's so funny. But his son was going through something, right? And this is why I said, like, you know, take the headphones out, look up. But his son was going through something, and he literally, you saw him take. I said, "Oh, babe," he took that earpiece off. I said because he really wanted his son to know that I'm here 100% for you.
Right.
And sometimes we don't realize how like little things we do creates like space and distance between us and other people. Having your headphones on, or you know, like just your demeanor and not smiling, not looking up, looking down, always, you know,
you're shutting yourself off from the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There are times for that.
Yeah, there are. But this
I love my earbuds.
He had the headset on 24/7.
I do.
He never took it. He never took it. This is different. No.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. No, he had him on all the time.
Wow. He wasn't taking no part of the world.
He was at a wedding. He was in a wedding.
Oh no!
Mouthpiece on. And it was the little earbud with the mouthpiece. So like
not the yeah.
He had the whole get up.
He had the whole joint. I was like
that old school Bluetooth.
Yeah. I used to hate them things, but they wraps around your ear. He was super pressed. Okay, he wasn't pressed. He was super pressed.
Yeah,
so he was connected in a different way.
Right.
So just don't shut yourself off.
I see your point.
Yeah, that's all right. No, Shauna, not even.
Y'all know, I be in my world.
No, that's a little different. He was a little different. Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome.
Try something new. So we just I don't know, like this power series is making me think about different things in different areas of life differently. But I love how we started it off with owning your power, because I think it all, like you said, it all goes back to that and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about, you know, your worth of being here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're here, so you were meant to be here for a reason.
That's right. Love it. Love it. And then you can get into other things, face to face, phone calls, social media, being social or not so social some days. It just depends. It just depends, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it takes well. I mean, there were, and to go back to the group's point, Shauna, like, we met in a group, but then there was a subgroup of us that created a small group. And then same thing with you, Jeanette. There was a large group, huge. And then we had like a mini subgroup that of those like-minded people who were on the same path and the different things that we did there in those spaces. And then we created. And then Shauna's accidental group. Remember you created that group on IG?
I had no idea how that happened. I looked up and I have like 15 women in a group on IG. Cool. And I have no idea how that happened. And I ran it for almost a year and then I let it go. I was like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's just go with it. So we did coffee chats and we were like doing coffee chats from different parts. I had people from other countries and I don't know how that happened.
That was fun. I was like, oh, this is a subgroup of the group we were in. I just rolled with it. I was like, oh, hey, y'all. It was great. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, always a great topic. I remember a couple years ago, in 2019, connections was my word for the year in 2019. And then rolling into 2020, I just went a completely different direction. I'm like, my finances is everything this year. So that was going to be my word. So, but those connections, that was key in 2019, just that. And then to see this come full circle now, 2 years, I'm like, oh, there's power in connections. Duh. Okay.
You and I first met in person in 20.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did met in person and it was really great. So yeah, that was my year of connections. I think I took like 4 or 5 trips that year because I went to Ohio. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina for the first time. I went to Florida. I was doing all the things. I was like, I'm going to connect with everything and everybody in these 12 months. And I definitely tried to do it. And I did, but it was just right on time. So
lit.
I was, nothing's by accident for sure. I love it. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you, ladies.
So any final thoughts or things that you want to leave our audience with when it comes to just the power of connection and just something tangible or whatever that they can do and take away? It could be something you already said.
There's different ways to there's different ways to connect. So if you're not ready for face-to-face, you got texts, you have emails. There's so many different ways you can connect. I have a very strong connection in the UK and it all started online. And before COVID, I was able to go over and actually meet at least 8 or 10 people that I have been connected with online for many years. But there's so many other ways if you're a little shy on the social aspect. You need to socialize, you need to connect, but maybe you find the way that makes you feel your most put yourself in the most comfortable position to make your connections that feels good to you. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, how they're doing it.
Exactly. Yep.
Linda, what about you?
Sure. Just be open, be open to what your likes and dislikes might be. That will help you make some of those decisions and looking at things more holistically. And I like what we said at the beginning, just that knowing yourself, if you're like, okay, I'm not a skydiver, I'm not going to go and do that. Maybe I'm going to ride a bicycle. That's okay. Maybe you get in a group with people who ride bicycles. You don't have to do the skydiving and all the other things. But just know where you are, but leave yourself open to grow.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
For me, I would say, because our live tour that we had, we talk about living the life you desire. And I think that being able to figure this piece out is going to help you move into that area of living the life you desire. So like when you think about it and you create a roadmap for your life and like where you want it to go and the people that you want in it and visualizing that, think about, either why you haven't gotten there yet or think about the people that you have that you're like, oh, I really value and appreciate these relationships. And I want to make sure I continue to have more of that, because in the big picture of the life that I desire, these people are a part of it. So I would just say, just really take some time to think and reflect on what you want, where you are, and the things that you have or that you feel like you need going forward. And say yes a little bit more often. And to some things we talk about the power of no, but season 1 or 2, Linda, the power of no. I can't remember.
Yeah,
One.
good
Like that
question.
Was that a 1? You think that was in
Might have
1?
been in 1. I think it was in 1.
I think it was 1.
But there is power in saying yes as well when it comes to the things that you want for yourself. And so saying no to other people that are draining you, but saying yes to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, it goes back, if you haven't listened to the last 3 episodes about the power of joy and flowing with ease and surrender, like those are going to also help you. Like all these go together. We were very intentional about these specific conversations that we're having with y'all, because we want y'all to ultimately have that joy, which is going to come when you're living the life that you desire, or when you're creating that life, right? And so take time to appreciate every single piece of the journey.
Yes. It's like building blocks, right? It's like building your foundation. So that's part of the reason why we started this series, because we wanted to make sure that we were giving the heartbeats the very best that we know that we do for ourselves in order to keep ourselves up where we need to be at. And these are like the pillars to that.
Definitely.
Sure.
So that was my little soapbox, and I'm gonna shoot it over to Shauna so she can give some words to the people. But before Shauna comes and tell you where to find it, make sure y'all like and subscribe, and that y'all leave a review, because leaving a review helps us be seen by more people who need to get this message. And make sure you share it with your friends that you feel like could value or benefit from it. If anything that we said, you thought of one person, then share it with that person. So over to you, Shauna.
Great word. We all have our microphones. Y'all want to see our microphones? We professionals. Look at us, y'all. Look at us, y'all. We got our microphones. Because guess what? Guess where you can find a heart chat at? What's I saying, Linda? You can find us on all the platforms.
About to say, live the life you desire.
Everywhere.
You can find us on all the platforms at The Heart of Chat. Come back next week and every beat. Come back next week and every week.
Rabbit.
And we're gonna go on 3. Take 3.
Back next week and every week, everybody, because it's gonna be fuego, baby. Come back.
Yeah.
Come back. Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.